Hello, thank you for joining with me. We are picking up today in Ken Wapnick's Journey Through A Course in Miracles. We are starting chapter 2, The Separation and the Atonement. And this is the introduction. This is the second movement in our grand and glorious symphony, and in many ways a remarkable one. It is the only chapter of its kind insofar as it presents an overview of the Course's thought system, the state of heaven, the development of the ego system, all mistakes within the system, leading to the miscreation of the mindless body, our mistakes in the magical attempts to heal the body, the recognition of our mistake and choosing the miracle, and our return home. It is a reprise of what we discussed in the prelude, a wonderful overview despite stylistic incongruities, difficult language, and ideas that do not flow naturally from each other because of the deletion of extraneous material meant for Helen and Bill alone, as I spoke of earlier. Another unique feature of this chapter is that it is the first and in some respects probably the most pointed discussion in A Course in Miracles of the power of the mind and the importance of not depreciating that power. It is noteworthy that this comes so early in the dictation where Jesus lays out for Helen and Bill and all of us the key message of his Course. This theme, so prominent in the present chapter, will be continually reviewed throughout the remaining chapters of the text. As I mentioned in the prelude, Jesus is like a master symphonist who skillfully develops the central theme of his work. I begin my commentary by reviewing the chart, see appendix, highlighting the themes emphasized in this chapter. I will then go through the chart again and elaborate on these themes in the context of passages in the chapter. We will start at the top, the world of heaven. Later, God is referred to as the cause, and Christ, his Son, as the effect. We will also see, however, that while God is the first cause, he is the only cause. He is the first in the Holy Trinity, but he is its only member, and that's from the text, chapter 14. The relationship between cause and effect, God and his Son, is expressed at the beginning of the chapter in the discussion of extension, creation, which is the activity of heaven. And that's in quotations, the activity. It is the very nature of love to extend itself, and this extension of God is his creation, Christ, who, having the same ability to create as his Father, extends himself, and this effect of his creation is known as the creations of Christ. The extension of love is a theme repeated throughout A Course in Miracles, but the process is beyond our ability to comprehend. The nature of heaven is perfect oneness, wherein God and Christ are one, as of course are cause and effect. Dualistic terms are used only to help us grasp the nature of heaven, although, as Jesus tells us repeatedly, we can never understand it. We can never understand it. Creation occurs in a dimension of reality that is totally beyond time and space. In fact, as it is the only reality, there is no way we can really understand this transmundane dynamic. What is interesting about the beginning of this chapter, especially in view of how it originally came to Helen, and this is evidence of the impurities in Helen's scribal ability at this point, is that Jesus used the word projection to describe both the activity of God as well as the activity of the split mind. He spoke of the appropriate and inappropriate use of projection. He later corrected this by distinguishing between projection and extension. The former was restricted to ego dynamics, and the latter was reserved for God. In a later chapter that speaks of the dream, Jesus uses extension to describe the healing function of the Holy Spirit. We can see in the first paragraph how Jesus amends his earlier wording by speaking of the inappropriate use of extension, which refers to how the ego misuses the mind's true power. Chapter 2 begins with what in chapter 27 is referred to as the tiny mad idea, the thought of separation from God. This thought can be understood as the Son saying, in effect, "There is something missing in me. There is a lack or scarcity in heaven. I am not the first cause. I am not the creator." That is the original sense of lack. Although, of course, lack in heaven is impossible, as only abundance, wholeness, and totality are real. It is this mistaken view that drives the Son of God to believe there is something lacking in him, and it is up to him to fill it because God will not. This is the genesis of the ego thought system, the making of the false self, and ultimately the physical universe. The idea that something is amiss and we have to do something to remedy it is what drives us out of heaven and into the ego's hands. As the chart indicates, when this event seemed to occur, and A Course in Miracles emphasizes throughout that the separation never really happened, this established the split mind that contains the voices of the ego and the Holy Spirit. The ego speaks first, gleefully if not ecstatically, about what has been accomplished. The Son is now autonomous and free, and the Holy Spirit appears not to respond, as we discussed in the prelude. His lack of defensiveness is what is known as the atonement principle. Namely, there is nothing to say and nothing to defend against, because nothing happened. And I am going to stop there today. We will pick up the reading here tomorrow. I thank you so much for joining with me, and I will see you then. Have a beautiful day.